Welcome back, everybody. I'm Kalani. In this session, I'll be teaching you this little song and 3 others, 2.5 others. You guys, I just had a really nice session. Let me turn the tambourine guy off for a second. I had a really nice music therapy session, and it was so organic. It had no pesticide. No, it really just evolved out of my clients. I had about 5 clients in the group, and some amazing things happened, including my clients playing the ukulele, the native American-style flute, and some percussion, and singing in mostly in Spanish, because 3 out of the 4 people there were Spanish speakers. And I used a lot of songs, I used some children's songs from my Orff training, like that one, which was introduced to me by Sofia Lopez-Ibor in my level 1 Orff, which is a Spanish poem that she set to music, and some other stuff. And it all worked together, and it's crazy. And I'm going to share with you what I did to make it even more crazy and effective in part 2. So this is part 1. I'm going to introduce you to the songs I used in the session, because you can use all these. They're very simple songs that I've been using a long time. So let's do that. So the one we just heard, La Mariposa, is the one that's based on a Spanish poem. We're going to get to that in a minute. Before we do that, I want to share with you a very simple song that I've been using. It's part of the Kalani's World Rhythms curriculum, 6 songs in that book with a media package. And that is a song that's a folk song from the Caribbean called tambor. And tambor, for those of you who don't know, means drum. And the lyrics to the tambor song, the simplified version, are tambor. That's it. So what we were doing with that is I had one client of mine, this gentleman, just strum an open C6 chord, just the open strings on the ukulele, which is kind of a C major chord, but also has the La. So it has the minor Do, the minor Do on La. Does that make sense? No. But I was grounding in that. I was kind of rooting into that, the La in the bottom, and then that enabled us to do tambor, 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 tambor. And what it also allowed us to do, and I sing that, and I've sung that with them before, so they know that. It's very simple for them to participate right away. I also use the opportunity today to introduce them to the idea of form and kind of counting and keeping track of things. And this relates to cognitive goals, memory, sequencing, planning. So we counted, and we're considering one of these kind of duplets of tambor, tambor. That's one. Tambor, 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 tambor. So the idea was there's 3 of these tambor, tambor, 3 of those, and then the 4th one is tambor, followed by a little reset. So that was pretty awesome, because my clients were tuning into that, and they hadn't necessarily tuned into that before. Another thing that's exciting about this is if you have a Native American style flute like this one, this is a Northern Spirits flute. It's food grade PVC. And what I did here is I taped off the 3rd hole down, which sets it up into a pentatonic scale starting on A, C, D, and then E, and then G and A. So that sounds like this. Now the flute that I was using in the session doesn't have a 3rd hole down, but I'm taping it off. So you can either take a 6-hole flute, tape it off, or some flutes that are very basic are set up in the 5-hole flute category. So you can even play the melody. I didn't have, now, okay, let me back up a little. There was a woman there who plays flute, silver flute, and she's in recovery. So she asked me about the Native American style flute, and I said, look, why don't you take it? I'm not gonna play it today. You'll be the only one, so you just keep it to yourself. And she got a hold of that flute and just stuck with it the entire hour and explored it. And my goal for her was I knew she was a flute player before, she is a flute player, and she loved to figure it out. And I just said, look, just take it and find notes and figure it out. And she, because she is a musician, she was hearing melodies and she wanted to find them. And I gave her some tips. I showed her a couple things, basic things. Like we usually play just top down, starting with the open holes and then covering them on the way down, and then opposite on the way up. We start with them all covered and open them up from the bottom up. That's one rule, but we also break that rule sometimes. But she was able to figure out a lot of the notes and play along while I was helping other people do other things, including strum the ukulele, play the drums, and I had some desk bells there as well. But let me show you how easy it is. Now, pressure's on. Let me show you how easy it is to play, just for example, that melody on the Native American style flute. So again, not too many things involved. I mean, this is the kind of thing that somebody could learn pretty much on the spot and just have it, practice it and work with it a little bit. But you want to have people in kind of a discovery, experimentation, practice mode, because that's what's satisfying. That's what, moves people along. So we had one woman doing that. Other people are doing other things, singing the tambor song. So we're going to come back to tambor in a minute. But that is very simple. You can sing it just, if you want, you can sing it over an A minor. You can sing it over the open strumming. You can also sing it over an A minor. Tambor, 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 tambor. Now, if you really want to be a little more detailed, you could do it with a G chord. Tambor, 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 tambor. You could do that. But either way works. And if you want to keep it really easy for your participants, just play it over an A minor chord. All right. What were we listening to when we first started? That's the La Mariposa song. And I'm going to play that for you again right now. And here are the words. La mariposa en la cocina hace chocolate para su vecina. What's that you say? That the butterfly is in the kitchen making chocolate for her neighbor? That's insane. I want to be her neighbor. That's what I was thinking. So that's a La Mariposa. For patrons, I'll put the lyrics in this post on Patreon. For those of you on YouTube, you could probably look it up. And if you speak Spanish, you know it already. But what's nice about that song is that it also will fit right over the C6 chord, the open ukulele strings. So the melody, super simple. La 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 da da da. So it's kind of an A-A-A-B melody. And it's fairly easy to play on the Native American style flute. Check it out. We do this. This is the only tricky fingering, I think, right here, because we're going to play the C above the top note. This is the top note, but we need this note. So that's how you play the C at the top, so you get the major scale. Again. So the woman in the session actually figured that out with my help, and she was able to play that. I also had desk bells. We had another person, I put them in order in sets of 3, and another client was able to play it on the little desk bells. And then we had other people singing. So we had that. Then I also, then I introduced a related song, and this one I learned from Doug Goodkin in my, I think it was in a 2D session in Orff. And it doesn't necessarily have a melody. You can add a melody to it. It's just a rhyming thing. And it's this. Batte, batte, chocolate con arroz y con tomate. Batte, batte, chocolate con arroz y con tomate. Which is about mole, I hear. Mashy, the mashy. You're mixing the chocolate with rice and tomatoes. Don't ask me about cooking. I think that's how you make mole. I don't know. I eat the mole and I eat the chocolate. So you can combine. So then I was combining some of these things. So if we were singing La Mariposa or we were singing tambor, I was just throwing in the bate bate chocolate. So we could do tambor, tambor, and then we could go bate bate chocolate con arroz y con tomate. And La Mariposa en la cocina. All right, so we're mixing and matching, and that's fun for people because they don't expect that. And that's kind of something I was doing to facilitate it. And then we also, my friends, we're not over. We're not done. There's more. So I also had the person playing the ukulele play this chord, which is an A7 chord. And then we were singing kind of a blues thing. And he stayed on the A, but I went to the D minor, D7. Now look at this. Tambor, 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 tambor. Yeah, you guys, I did that. What else can you do? La mariposa en la cocina hace chocolate para su vecina. La mariposa en la cocina hace chocolate para su vecina. Bate, bate, chocolate con arroz y con tomate. Yeah. Everything, speaking of mashing stuff up, everything was getting mashed together, and that is exciting. It was super fun, and it just allowed me to kind of check in on people and reinforce what people were learning, what they were doing, what they were maybe, and also support what they maybe needed some support in doing, which could be playing a melody or remembering lyrics or singing part of the song. So eventually, everything was getting put together and recycled and combined. And these people played for 50 minutes, 45, 50 minutes straight. And I didn't do much talking. We mainly just played. I assisted with a little bit of, fingering, this and that, showing a little bit on the desk bells, showing a little bit on the flute, but really, most of the session was just jamming, and we had people leading and introducing some of these themes. These all become themes that are then familiar, and these motifs or motives within the music can be combined and layered and just played with, and that's musicking. That's how we do music. We learn things. We learn, a melody, some lyrics, rhythm, and then we play with it. And that's why it's called playing music. Playing with sound, playing with musical elements. All right, so I'm going to explain more on how I facilitated, a couple more things, a couple more secrets for you guys, a couple tips. If you meet me over at Patreon, I'll show you how to do that. Here's our Patreon page. And remember, you guys, this channel and all the work I do on the ukulele channel, the native flute stuff, World Drum Club, it's all supported by you, by patrons. And so I hope that if you get some value out of this, just demonstrate appreciation by, chipping in like the cost of a cup of coffee per month. If you want to learn more and take courses and classes, I have a lot of DVD material that I've put up on the Patreon in a streaming format, so you don't have to go buy a DVD, or you can watch it from anywhere. So that's also over there. You can click links below if you're interested in some courses for ukulele, native flute, congas, bongos, djembe, facilitation, music, improv, all that kind of stuff is also available over there, including me. So you can ask me questions. If you have a nice comment or you want to add something, you can do that below here on YouTube. But if you would like to ask me a question, get a response, do that through Patreon. I appreciate it. This is a community-supported effort, and that's you. So help support the community, get what you need, and go forth and make some great music with your people. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you soon.